might find in a kitchen. Snow tires.
Snow tires.
Kind neighbor. Something you fill with air. Spaghetti. Spaghetti? That's what you went with? Absolutely. You hadn't cooked it right if it ain't got bubbles in it. Well, the board disagrees. I'm standing by it. Something you keep in your wallet. Spare tire. Yeah, just in case. You never know, right? Survey says nothing. Not a single person said that. You're one of a kind, my friend. Hey, that's swallowed it. 100 people. Name something you might find in a kitchen. Snow tires.
Snow tires.
A giraffe.
A giraffe.
A kind neighbor.
Kind neighbor.
Something you fill with air. Spaghetti. Spaghetti? That's what you went with? Absolutely. You hadn't cooked it right if it ain't got bubbles in it.
It's gotta be bitches.
Probably this. Sure is. Bitches. Okay. I know some of it. It's a place. Okay. I don't know this word. This is the problem.
Cow.
White coward bitches.
White coward bitch.
Oh man, it's best work. It says here something. Cow-eater bitch. How could it be wrong? How could it be? Solve. That was my guess. It's on now. Cool. How about a crisp C?
C.
It's gotta be bitches. There's no way it's not bitches. I don't want to guess. It's gotta be bitches. I'd assume birches. And there's trees. Sure. Well, no, it's a very guess hard, isn't it? Our other options. I'm not gonna say.
500.
That's bad for my game. Bunches. I don't know what this word is. No, neither of those. Bunches. D.
D.
It's coward. It's gotta be cow. No, I just want to know. There's nothing else it could be.
White powder pigeons.
I know what 2 of them are. I think. White River Raftis. Raftis. Chowder. I'll take chowder. No, it's not. F.
White powder pigeons.
It's chowder. Pick F.
No.
There's no space for chowder. There's no F in chowder. Well, I'm the only one giving off this here. I really. White powder? White powder bitches? What is that? It's not bitches.
Bitches.
It's gotta be. Guys, it's not bitches. There's no way it's not bitches. Guys, come on.
100%.
Think about it.
Think about Scott.
No, I don't know yet. I don't want to guess it yet. Fire Val. That's not gonna help me. It's gonna help you. No, I'm gonna guess B. Not because it's bitches. Yeah. Okay.
Powder.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
White powder beaches.
It's close. How about this one? How about beaches? Stick ups. It's gotta be It's gotta be It's gotta be bitches.
It's gotta be bitches. Do you know that way? Do you know that way? White powder beaches.
This is such an embarrassment, it might even cause the program to lose funding. In our timeline following Challenger, they suspended flights for 2 years. But maybe this would be something that...
Love Big Bird died in the Challenger disaster.
But that funding is certainly getting cut. Maybe the program ends in the early 90s. Who knows? And look, if it did end in the early 90s, I'm going to tell you something. This would have been a great thing. If you were a kid who was interested in space travel in the early 2000s and you thought shuttles were the coolest thing, me, I was that kid, you might not want to hear this, but the shuttle program was a failure. Not just a failure, it probably set us back decades in space exploration. If they had just cut their losses and ended the shuttle after Challenger, we probably would have been on Mars by now. Oh, what do you know? That's not my script. That's a quote by NASA Administrator Michael D. Griffin. As
Michael D. Griffin!
feared that there was something wrong with the solid rocket boosters. While the FBRs were being
Onion rings.
designed, shuttle launches continued on as normal, despite there being a real fear of what failure could bring. The entire launch around the Challenger was just weird. The morning of the shuttle launch had temperatures of 30 degrees Fahrenheit. That was so cold there were icicles on the shuttle itself. Yet NASA was still adamant about going ahead. They delayed the launch multiple times and refused to delay anymore, which is kind of strange for NASA, to be honest. Despite warnings from multiple engineers, despite the O-rings being a known problem, why did the higher...
Yeah, they're frozen.
What was so important that day for NASA to have a civilian in space? This momentous occasion in American history. Why did the Challenger need to launch on January 28th, 1986? It's kind of strange for NASA to do, to be honest. They never had an issue.
The Challenger disaster. The Challenger disaster.
Holy shit, the rain caused the Challenger disaster.
Oh, God.
Before her death, Krista
Wait, Reagan?
confided in a personal friend that she felt Reagan was using her, but she felt that what she was doing
Wait, Ronald Reagan!
education, so she went along with it. Ronald Reagan personally announced the Teacher in Space program. It seemed to be something that he was actually very interested in.
Fine.
He was never a very hands-on president. If anything, he let those under him make many of the major decisions. And because of that, it makes it very complicated knowing just what he approved and what he didn't. This is Dr. William Graham had a PhD in electrical engineering, and in 1980 had worked on the Reagan campaign leading up to his election. Following this, he was nominated by the president to be chairman of the General Advisory Committee on Arms Control, a stint that lasted for 3 years before he got another promotion. In 1985, Graham was nominated as the Deputy Administrator of NASA, soon to be the sole administrator, following some internal politics and the resignation of James M. Beggs. Graham was a Reagan lackey. There's no other way to describe him. There isn't much evidence on how much he took orders from the White House, but there is a lot of proof that he made most of his decisions to impress the guy in charge, the guy who gave him his job. Whenever the story of the Challenger is told, it's always that NASA higher-ups just had to launch on that day. Those mysterious higher-ups. It was Graham. We know that Graham had the last say on...
Yeah, it was Graham.
...off the previous launch on the 27th. Yet, despite recommendations from not only his own engineers, but also contractor engineers who worked on SBRs, he went through anyway. McAuliffe even told the same friend the day before he died that NASA was adamant about launching on the 28th, no matter what. So the question really is why? Why was the 28th the final straw?
What if Big Bird did die in the Challenger disaster?
The Union address might have spurred the shuttle to launch. The White House press in response called these allegations sick and dangerous rumors. So how linked was the Challenger to the state of the Union address? It's a McConnell, author of Challenger, A Major Malfunction. He was told by a staff member that it was common knowledge JPL had been told to clear a communications channel that was being used for the unmanned Voyager spacecraft so that the president could call Challenger during the State of the Union speech. The morning of the launch, there was
State of the Union
by Jane Mayer, where she reported that the president was going to pause his speech and turn everyone's attention to a screen which would show the hero. This mysterious hero was never brought up again after
the Challenger disaster.
Found out who this hero was, as no hero was ever presented at the 1986 State of the Union. The Reagan administration remained adamant that this was always the case, that there wasn't going to be a mention of Krista McAuliffe in the speech at all. A week later, though, there did still happen to be a mention of the science experiment that a student made that was on the Challenger when it exploded.
Oh, not
so
for real.
We're going to mention the science experiment, but not the teacher.
As they said in the film, Back to the Future, where we're going, we don't need roads.
Yeah, we don't need roads.
This isn't definitive
Oh.
cover-up at all. In fact, you can say it's strange to suggest the president would stop his speech and call somebody during the State of the Union.
Oh, nah.
Speech, sure, but this type of action is a little bombastic. It is Reagan.
Yeah, Reagan.
Showmanship, so it's kind of in character.
Yeah, Reagan,
like,
you're
hey,
dick.
Look, there's that teacher I put in a space with that program I started.
Yeah,
this
Reagan.
Is all hearsay, though. What the speech on January 28th was supposed to be has never been disclosed. All we have to go off of is
Ronald Reagan.
Official stance on the Challenger disaster is that it in no way had ties to the State of the Union address the very same day. There was never going to be a mention of a hero in 1986, and Reagan never planned to mention the program that he started. So let's move away from the State of the Union then. What if it wasn't that? Could there have been something else on January 28th that made it an important cutoff date? Well, apparently there was.
Wait, what?
NASA schedules for the shuttle were strict. They either happened on time or not at all. We know what the planned schedule for the Challenger was. One of the most important aspects of the entire mission was for Kristen to learn a lesson in space. This lesson, just like the Challenger launch, would be broadcasted to schools across the nation. This lesson really seemed to be the culmination and entire point of her being there in the first place. That inspiration to get into STEM that the administration...
Hey, Jarvis. Hey, Jarvis.
I'm afraid I can't help you make a flying suit.
I'm afraid I can't. You can't help me make flying suit. Wait, Jarvis, you can't help me make flying suits?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you please say that again?
You can't help me make a flying suit?
I didn't get that. Could you try again? Sorry, I don't understand.
You can't help me make a flying suit?
For. The lesson was planned for day 4. Now, the Challenger was originally meant to launch on Monday, January 27th, but because of the delay, they had to push it to January 28th. 4 days from then would be a Friday, a weekday where millions of kids are still in school. It's cutting it close, but it's still manageable. If the shuttle had to be delayed again, though, then that lesson would be scheduled for a day where no kids are in school. This lesson might be entirely scrapped. Even if there were no plans for the State of the Union address, this lesson was well known and anticipated. Is it so insane to imagine that NASA would give the go-ahead just to remain on schedule? I don't think so.
Schedule.
This was an organization which was playing it pretty fast and loose with safety. In his book, The Challenger Revealed, Richard C. Cook described NASA as being pretty confused when the explosion happened. Like, they had protocols for when a disaster occurred, but it was like nobody expected one to actually happen. You know, perhaps there's no single reason
Lift
the
off.
Challenger had to go on the 28th. Maybe there's just a bunch of small ones. It was optimal for many parties involved to launch. I don't believe Reagan personally picked up a phone and ordered the shuttle to take off. Administrations are big, and such a decision probably came down to some middleman or public relations figure that just wanted to boost the president's image. Nobody in the White House probably even knew about the potential.
Hey, Jarvis.
I think you have me mistaken for another intelligent assistant.
You're an idiot. Jarvis.
Mr. Stark, is that you?
No.
I found this on the web.
Danger of launching in such conditions. Who knows what an O-ring is?
Mr. Stark?
We might have one of them.
Mr. Stark? Is that you?
Crap. But there was very clearly somebody who should
Is that me?
William Graham. Not that William Graham. Yeah, there's two William Grahams that knew Reagan. He was the one where the buck stopped, he had the power to delay the launches, and he didn't. We will truly never know how involved the Reagan administration was with forcing the Challenger to launch. Honestly, I started this entire rabbit hole because the concept just seemed so insane. This video was supposed to be a dumb April Fool's joke about a Muppet exploding. Now I'm like a month late and I look like an insane person. In reality, I personally believe that the story is far less dramatic.
Jarvis.
Hold on. Let me tell Ms. Patsubi.
Jarvis.
I think you have me mistaken for another intelligent.
Hey, Jarvis.
Hold on. Let me tell Ms. Potts you'll be late for dinner. Again?
Yes, I have saved the world.
Try to follow the 3 R's in everything you do. Reduce, reuse, recycle. And when you're done, add one more. Beat.
Jarvis? Hello, Jarvis.
I think you have me mistaken for another intelligent assistant.
Jarvis? Jarvis?
Hold on. Let me tell Ms. Potts you'll be late for dinner. Again?
No.
Here's what I found. In my opinion, I think Graham decided to launch just to keep his boss happy. Graham went on to serve a lengthy career of 5 months as NASA administrator before resigning and leaving forever. He dabbled in being the science advisor to the president until 1989, before then going into the private sector, a fate that anybody familiar with the federal government would have saw coming a mile away. He wasn't the only cause or reason, of course. There were many conditions that led to the challenge.
Hey, Jarvis.